Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you're out there thinking that building a global tech team is just, some massive cost-saving exercise, well, you're falling into a really dangerous trap. Today we are going to break down how you can actually build a modern, totally resilient workforce architecture for the future. The rules of where technical work happens, who executes it, and how fast your organization moves are completely changing. Let's get right into it.
Here's exactly what we'll be covering. First, the 2026 paradigm shift. Then we'll dive into the unique advantages of onshore, nearshore, and offshore models, and finally show you how to tie them all together into a hybrid architecture.
All right, part one, the 2026 paradigm shift. We are officially entering a new reality where capability absolutely trumps pure cost. There is a massive mindset shift happening right now. Figuring out where your tech team sits is absolutely not just a simple procurement decision anymore. It is quite literally the question of your competitive advantage. See, the outdated view treated geographic talent like interchangeable widgets with different price tags. But the organizations totally crushing it today, they've completely ditched that old offshore-first, cost-only mentality. Instead, they are hyper-focused on optimizing for capability.
And think about what AI is doing to the landscape. AI agents have pretty much wiped out the old level 1 call center model. Remember when massive offshore centers existed basically just for routine password resets or simple FAQs? Yeah, that's gone. Chatbots handle all of that now. So what's left for actual human engineers? Level 2 and Level 3 complexity. We're talking about untangling messy race conditions in distributed systems or analyzing deep microservice performance issues. AI just can't replicate that level of deep system thinking yet. Because of this, human engineers everywhere are being elevated to complex problem solvers. We're talking about a total transformation of offshore teams from just a quote-unquote cheap labor pool into serious, high-end capability centers.
Moving right along to part two, onshore, and what we call the context advantage. Let's see what domestic operations really bring to the table. The key buzzword you need to know here is context density. When you're operating onshore, meaning your tech team is in the exact same country as your HQ, the real superpower isn't just physical proximity, it's shared context. Just picture a super tense executive escalation during a massive outage that's actively impacting customers. Or imagine dealing with strict, stressful regulatory demands like CCPA, HIPAA, or SOC 2 audits. You literally can't afford a translation delay in those moments. You need an incident commander who can walk right into that boardroom with instant shared business awareness and just handle it.
Now, obviously, the cost premium for keeping things onshore is very real. US-based senior engineers generally command salaries that are, 3 to 4 times higher than their offshore counterparts. But here's the thing. You accept that steep cost and the crazy talent scarcity specifically for that high-context, high-risk strategic work. You are optimizing for decision speed in environments where a single mistake could cost you significantly more than that engineer's entire salary. It is quite literally an insurance policy on your most critical strategic roadmaps.
Next up, part 3, Nearshore, the velocity engine. Let's talk about Latin America and why it's become the ultimate powerhouse for modern software development.
8.7%. That is the massive annual growth rate of the nearshore market right now. It is absolutely surging, expected to hit over $93 billion by 2030. And why the huge spike? Honestly, it's because companies are just tired of sacrificing speed for savings. Nearshore teams, like those in Costa Rica, Mexico, or Colombia, they still reduce your costs by a solid 40 to 60% compared to the US. But they maintain a collaboration velocity that the super distant offshore models simply cannot match.
The absolute secret sauce here is temporal proximity. This just means having a really substantial daily time zone overlap, like 6 to 8 hours. So your product manager in California can run an agile sprint planning session with a dev team in San Jose, Costa Rica, and no one has to chug coffee for a miserable 3 a.m. Zoom call. Agile methodologies absolutely depend on this synchronous communication. Real-time dialogue for backlog refinement and retrospectives completely prevents those awful 15 to 25% rework rates that always seem to plague teams stuck in asynchronous, distant relationships. All right, part 4. Offshore, where it's all about scale and continuity. Let's look at regions like India, the Philippines, and Eastern Europe.
You've got to ask yourself, is system downtime financially acceptable for your business? If your application supports revenue-critical operations, think payment processing, supply chains, or healthcare systems, every single minute of an outage is just burning real money. If you rely purely on an onshore model, a 2 a.m. outage means you're either waiting until morning or you're burning out your most expensive senior engineers on an exhausting on-call rotation. But with true follow-the-sun operations, your team in Bangalore is already at their desks, securing continuous 24/7 coverage. It's a total game changer.
5 million. That is the number of software developers in India alone. Just let that sink in. While nearshore markets like Costa Rica offer amazing velocity, they might only have maybe 20,000 developers total. The contrast is absolutely staggering. So, when you need to rapidly scale up a QA automation team from 10 to 100 engineers in just 90 days, or maybe you need to hunt down highly specialized talent like Rust or blockchain developers, Offshore is simply unmatched. It gives you incredible scale and incredibly deep, specialized capabilities without totally draining your domestic talent pools.
But there is a catch. You really have to beware of the 24-hour feedback loop trap. Here's how it happens. The US sends a question at 5 p.m., India receives it their next morning, works on it, and sends a reply by their 5 p.m. The US wakes up, reviews it, and, maybe has another question. A super simple 30-minute real-time clarification just burned 48 hours of your delivery timeline. This agonizing communication latency is proven to extend timelines by up to 40%. The best way around this? Reserve your offshore teams for work with frozen requirements and really highly detailed specifications.
And that brings us to our final section, Part 5, Hybrid, the Modern Workforce Architecture. This is where it all comes together.
Evaluating your global delivery models purely by looking at hourly rates is such a massive trap. Pure offshore might give you the lowest face value rate, sure, but it hides huge management and rework costs. Pure onshore, low rework, but an incredibly high hourly rate and serious retention risks. A hybrid model perfectly optimizes your total cost of ownership. By beautifully blending these locations, your effective rate balances out, but your delivery velocity and quality produce the absolute highest return on investment.
This right here is essentially your master strategic framework. It maps out exactly how to assign work based on context and coverage needs, rather than just chasing the lowest cost. High context, high criticality work, like strategic architecture, keep that onshore. High collaboration, iterative agile work, send that nearshore for the temporal proximity. And high scale, well-defined work like 24/7 infrastructure monitoring, that goes offshore. We are not just talking about simple outsourcing anymore. This is deliberate, orchestrated workforce architecture.
But please remember, without very deliberate governance, this beautiful architecture is going to quickly devolve into absolute operational chaos. Work starts falling through the cracks. Teams start blaming other time zones for their delays, and accountability completely vanishes. To stop that, you absolutely must establish clear handoff protocols, enforce really rigorous documentation standards, and utilize clear ROSI matrices. Most importantly, invest in dedicated program management. Firms like Baywan provide specific PMO services that supply the exact governance layer you need to transform hybrid delivery from a massive liability into your absolute strongest competitive advantage.
So I want to leave you with this crucial question to consider as you rethink your operational strategy for 2026. Are you treating your global delivery strategy as a simple vendor transaction, just trying to find cheap labor? Or are you engineering a true, resilient, 24/7, highly capable global workforce architecture? Map your work by context and criticality, build that governance layer to make it seamless, and stop playing the old cost game. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep optimizing, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Check out the next video on this topic, or subscribe to our channel to keep up with our latest explainer videos, live webinars, and other insights into technology solutions.